Please remember that all the opinions in the show are those of the host and should only be taken as food for thought. We're in no way telling you to do anything. Everything is kept anonymous for the safety of the listeners and no information is shared to anyone else. If you are easily offended by people's opinions or views, then thank you for making it this far, but this is not the podcast for you. So see you later. And please enjoy the rest of the show.
My final entry for this true crime episode is the famous story of Richard Kuklinski, known as the Iceman.
Do I know this one? It sounds familiar.
Yeah, there's been a movie, we discussed it before.
Oh, okay.
He's known as the Iceman. He was an American criminal convicted of murder. He engaged in many activities in his life. One of which he was a contract killer for the mob.
Oh, yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I like this one.
Yeah. He was a Polish man, obviously with a last name like Kuklinski. But his main thing during his criminal career, I would say, and what he actually got arrested for was he ran a burglary ring, and he also distributed pirated pornography.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I don't think that was in the movie.
That's not in the movie. Another thing that's not in the movie is the fact that what actually got him arrested was the 5 murders he committed between 1980 and 1984 connected to his burglary ring. That had nothing to do with the mob killings at all.
I think that's going to be the catchphrase for this series. That's not in the movie.
Yeah, that's not in the So Kuklinski lived with his wife and children in New Jersey.
Oh God, Jersey's come up again.
Dan's favourite place.
My embarrassment
in Long Island.
I've upset so many people with that.
Obviously, he was known to be a loving father and husband, even though he had a violent temper. So in the film, they make out as though he does a lot for his family.
And
he's doing all this for his family. In real life, it wasn't anything to do with that, really. He was a piece of shit. He beat his wife up and was very violent at home. They turn it around and make out as though he's some kind of family man, but he isn't at all. He was known so he's known for that. He was nicknamed the Iceman, weirdly as well. He was nicknamed the Iceman because the authorities discovered a body that he'd put in a freezer. And he put it in the freezer because he attempted to mess with the time of death. And that's why he was known as the Iceman. Where in the movie and openly in pop culture, he's known as the Iceman because he was not known to have any reactions to his killings. He was always straight-faced.
Okay, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that is actually where the real nickname comes from. He also killed 2 associates. He used to lure people into clandestine. This is during his time as a mob hitman. His MO would be he would lure the people in for a meeting. So he'd be hired by a family to kill this guy. He'd lure them in for some sort of meeting, normally involving drugs or something, saying that he's going to sell to them. And then during that business deal, he would then kill them, steal all their money. And he did the same with a couple of associates who he then thought was going to become informants. So he then killed both of them as well.
Fucking hell.
He was eventually caught after all of this because of the burglary gang murders and a few other things that he was caught doing. There was an 18-month-long undercover operation, which then led him to get arrested in 1986. In 1988, he was convicted for the 4 murders and sentenced to life in prison. And then in 2003, he got another 30 years on top because he confessed to the murder of a police officer. So by this point, they didn't know about his body count at all,
Yeah.
the police. So once he'd been convicted, Kuklinski gave interviews to writers, prosecutors, criminologists. When he realised he wasn't going to get out of prison, he claimed to murder anywhere between 100 to 200 men for the mob.
Jesus fuck.
Went into very detailed fashion. Said it was, went into very gruesome fashion and told them everything about it. None of these murders, of course, have been collaborated by the mob and have been admitted. Both mafia, ex-mafia bosses and ex-policemen are very disproving of that he had anything to do with the mob at all. Like, they make out as though he's a liar.
Yeah.
But he has been also named to be a hitman for a lot of the stuff for Jimmy Hoffa, which was one of the mafia big men back then. But there's been 3 documentaries done on him, and I watched 2 of them over the last week or so, and I believe he is telling the truth. And there's a weird situation with him as well, where there's interviews with him, and I think he enjoys the killing more than he's actually being a hired hitman.
Oh, what? He was happy to do it.
Yeah, he started off as a transactional thing, and then it became later more he was doing it for fulfilling an urge.
Fucking hell.
And he liked the idea of being elusive as well.
I suppose, yeah.
Because he'd got away with so much. Here's a little tape from him, which I'll play to you quickly. This is about him describing.
I don't. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me at all. I don't have a feeling one way or the other. I think if I had a choice, I wouldn't. Nothing haunts me. No murders haunt me. Nothing. I don't think about it. That's why it's hard for me to tell you. But in order for me to be able to tell you when something happened, I have to think about when. If I think about it, it would wind up hurting me. So I don't think about it. If I had a choice, and of course you has already said to me we all have choices. Maybe we do. There's a time I didn't seem to have one. But if I could have, I would like to be different than what I am. I would have liked to have been different than what I was, yes. It would be better. It would have been better for me. I would have liked to have had a better outlook on life.
It makes you laugh. He sounds like the actor that played him in the film.
Yeah, he done it. Yeah, he played him very well.
I should say it the other way around. The actor sounded like him.
Yeah, yeah. So he did all of these crimes throughout the time that he was married and stuff, and the missus and kids say they're none the wiser, and to this day maintain that they were none the wiser that their dad or her husband was out there contract killing left, right, and centre. So
what do you think he did for a job? You know what I mean?
Exactly, and he's bringing back cash and he's covered in blood. Obviously the mob are never going to admit to having who's their hired hitmen are and all this stuff. But the fact that the police question it does make me question whether he's got a little bit of an imagination to what he did.
Oh, he's like, it's his way of justifying it.
Yeah, because he's kind of gone forward to he's had so many interviews, he's had so many books written about him. He's made almost a celebrity out of himself. And is that for attention because he's now inside forever anyway? Well, he died. He's dead now, but
You would have think as well, like if he was squealing, that the mob would have just had him taken out, like in
eventually,
prison.
yeah.
I mean, why would they let him keep running his mouth?
I think he liked the idea of I don't feel anything about killing. I don't feel it. He liked the idea that he's like, he's the persona of the Iceman.
Yeah, because I thought, I didn't realise the Iceman was like I thought it was, because obviously I've only seen the film, so I assumed that it was because he was putting him in ice.
Freezers.
And yeah. Not because he's cold as ass. That's mental, man. I would fucking hate to be like, obviously we had mob stuff over here, but not like American have mob stuff. Like, can you imagine being in a pub and this guy just comes up? Like, I'd shit my pants.
Yeah, I think the level of control and sophistication when it comes to the mob basically controlled elections at certain points in America, where over here I think we always had. I wouldn't even call them a mob. I would say they're more of a crew. There was always like small crews.
They're like gangs.
Yeah, or we call them firms over here, don't we?
Oh yeah, an old firm. Yeah, yeah. Like the Krays and that were not mafia. They were like a crew, weren't they?
Yeah, they were a firm, and then the Richardsons were actually a more successful firm than the Krays, but the Krays were more famous. So it's strange. So it's a weird thing to think about.
Yeah, no, I couldn't imagine. I love all those movies though, like when you see all like the Made Men and all that sort of shit. I still haven't finished The Sopranos.
It's honestly the most frustrating last episode of any show you've ever watched in your life.
Doesn't make me want to finish it.
We're actually going to fuck it. I was going to write a letter.
Good luck, because I can't make any more because he passed away, didn't he?
Oh, mate. You're so upset. So upset with the way it ended.